what a busy place! Look at all these things! So much to see!
Mamuna, the local village girl, stepped off the bus at Ojota Motor Park in Lagos, a city that promised dreams and opportunities. She arrived with nothing but loyalty and hope, ready to start a new life with Peter, her boyfriend, who had already settled in the city. She had left behind her simple village life, her heart full of love and expectations. Her eyes were wide as she took in the bustling city around her, the noise of buses, the shouts of street vendors, the rush of people everywhere. But among all of this, she found Peter running toward her, his face split with the biggest smile she had ever seen. "Mamuna!" he shouted as he neared her, his voice cutting through the noise of the crowded park. She turned to see him, and in that moment, she knew that no matter how different life in Lagos was going to be, she had Peter by her side. He reached her, lifted her in his arms, and spun her around in the dusty park, tears streaming down his face. "You came. You actually came," he said, his voice shaking with emotion. "Did you think I wouldn't?" Mamuna replied, holding him tight. "I told you I'm coming to build with you." She touched his face, dirty from the hustle of Lagos, but to her, it was still the most handsome face in the world. The Okada ride to Peter's place was long and bumpy, and Mamuna clung to him tightly, nervous about what was to come. When they finally arrived at his place, a small, run-down building with peeling paint, Mamuna's heart skipped a beat. She looked at Peter, unsure of what to expect. But when he opened the door to their room, the reality of the situation hit her hard. It was a tiny room with one mattress on the floor, a fan, a small burner in the corner for cooking, and a bucket for bathing. It was far from the life she had imagined. But Peter watched her closely, fear and shame written all over his face. Mamuna dropped her bag and smiled. "It's perfect," she said. Peter's face softened, and she continued, "I didn't come here for a big house. I came for you. We will build together. This room is just our starting point, not our ending point." Peter's relief was palpable, and the two of them embraced, ready to face whatever came next. The next morning, Mamuna began her new life in Lagos. She woke up early, boiled water on the small burner, and prepared Peter's food. By 6 a.m., Peter was already out the door, loading bags at the market, working long hours for barely any money. Mamuna, on the other hand, packed her basin with oranges and bananas, balancing on her head, and walked to Junction to sell her fruits. Under the scorching Lagos sun, she stood for hours calling out, "Fresh oranges, sweet bananas, coming by." Some days were good. Mamuna would sell everything by evening and make a decent profit. Other days, rain would scatter her fruits, and she would come home with nothing but wet clothes and a sense of failure. But no matter what happened, every evening was the same. Peter would return home exhausted, his body aching from the heavy lifting. Mamuna would warm water for him to bathe, and they would sit together to count their money. 10 naira, 20 naira, sometimes even 50 naira. No matter how small their earnings, they celebrated, grateful for what they had. They saved every penny, knowing it would help them build a better future. 3 months later, Mamuna and Peter had saved 15,000 naira. They screamed and danced in their small room, thrilled by their progress. "Let's buy a small TV," Peter suggested. They bought a second-hand TV from the market, and that night, the neighbors came over to watch the news. Mamuna served everyone water, her heart swelling with pride. Though their journey was slow, they were moving forward. They had a TV, a symbol of their hard work and small successes. But while Mamuna and Peter were making progress, there was someone else watching from the sidelines, Zanab. Zanab was 28 years old, with long, sleek hair, expensive clothes, and a life of luxury. She lived in a beautiful room, complete with a big bed, AC, and a fridge full of food. She had men who took care of her, men who paid for her clothes, her perfume, and her lifestyle. She watched Mamuna struggle from her room, shaking her head in disbelief. One evening, Zanab called Mamuna over to her room. When Mamuna entered, she was stunned by the difference between their two worlds. Zanab's room was a sanctuary, with soft sheets, a big wardrobe full of clothes, and perfume bottles everywhere. "Sister Mamuna, your room is so beautiful," Mamuna said, genuinely impressed. "Thank you, dear. Zanab replied, offering her cold juice from the fridge. Zanab smiled and asked, "But sister, why are you suffering like this? Selling oranges under the sun, your hands rough, your skin darkened by the heat. For what? You're too beautiful for this life." Mamuna hesitated, but Zanab's words echoed in her mind. "Look at me," Zanab continued. "I don't have to work hard. I have men who take care of me. They know how to treat a woman well." Mamuna felt uneasy, but Zanab's words planted seeds of doubt in her mind. She began to question whether Peter could ever give her the life she deserved. The next evening, Zanab convinced Mamuna to go out to a club for the first time in her life. The music was loud, and the lights flashed in every direction. Beautiful women in tight dresses danced with rich men, and money was sprayed everywhere. It was a world Mamuna had never seen before, and she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed by the luxury. As the night went on, a man approached Mamuna. He told her that she was beautiful and offered her his number. "Take my number," he said. "I can take care of you. I'll buy you things. I'll make your life easier." Mamuna quickly refused, but Zanab urged her to take the number, saying it was just a way to make some money, to help her out. "It's not a crime," Zanab said. "Just collect the number. They'll give you money for your hair, your clothes. It's no big deal." That night, Mamuna went home to Peter, who was waiting for her. He was worried because her phone had died, and he had been unable to reach her. But Mamuna lied, telling him she had just been with a neighbor. She didn't want to admit where she had been or what she had done, but as she looked around their small room, something inside her shifted. She began to see the poverty that had always surrounded them: the thin mattress, the bucket for bathing, the lack of comforts. She started to doubt whether this was the life she wanted. Soon, the texts from Chief Bello, the wealthy man from the club, started coming in. At first, they were harmless, checking in on her, offering her money for her hair, asking if she had eaten. But as time went on, the offers became more tempting. One day, Chief sent her 50,000 naira, more money than she and Peter had saved in 3 months. Mamuna hesitated, but accepted the money. It felt like an easy way out of their struggles, and she told herself it was just help, nothing more. The secret meetings with Chief Bello became more frequent. He would give her money, take her out to fancy restaurants, and promise her a life of comfort. Mamuna began to change. She started buying things secretly: expensive clothes, new perfume, and beauty products. She hid them from Peter, afraid of what he would think. But he noticed the changes. He was happy that Mamuna had found a job, but he didn't know the truth. Mamuna kept lying to him, telling him that she was helping someone with their business. Zanab kept pushing Mamuna to leave Peter, to choose a life of luxury and comfort. "Peter will never be able to give you what you deserve," she would say. "You deserve more than loading work and struggling. Look at me. I have everything I want. You can have it too." Mamuna started to believe her. She began to see Peter's hard work as insignificant, and the money Chief Bello gave her became her focus. She wanted more, and she thought she deserved more. One night, Chief offered her an apartment in Lekki, fully paid for a year. All she had to do was leave Peter and come live with him. It was a life Mamuna had always dreamed of: luxury, comfort, and wealth. And so she left Peter. The day Mamuna left, Peter was heartbroken. He had saved up to buy her a small gold necklace for their anniversary. But when he came home, he found her bags packed and ready to go. "Where are you going?" he asked, his voice shaking. Mamuna tried to avoid his gaze, but Peter grabbed her hands, pleading with her to stay. "This is not working," she said coldly. "I can't do this anymore. I'm tired of struggling. I want a better life. I deserve more than this." Peter collapsed to his knees, begging her not to leave. But Mamuna walked out the door, and Chief's car was waiting for her. Mamuna settled into her new life with Chief Bello. She had a beautiful apartment, a car, and everything she thought she wanted. But deep inside, she felt empty. The luxury and comfort were not enough to fill the void. She began to post pictures on Instagram, showing off her new life. But at night, she would think about Peter, about their dreams, and about the life she had left behind. Meanwhile, Peter had picked himself up. He remembered his mother's words: "Use the pain to build yourself." He enrolled in a computer course, got a job as a driver, and worked hard every day. Slowly, he moved up the ranks and was promoted to warehouse supervisor, then manager, and eventually operations officer. He was building a better life, and he didn't need anyone to help him. 3 years later, Mamuna called Peter. She was pregnant and alone. Chief had abandoned her, and she had nowhere to go. She begged Peter for help, but Peter refused. "You left me for money," he said. "You chose luxury over love, and now you want to come back." Mamuna tried to apologize, but Peter wasn't interested. "You made your choice. Now live with it." Peter had moved on. He had found someone who loved him for who he was, not for what he could give her. Grace, his secretary, had stood by him when he had nothing. She loved him for his character, not his wallet. Peter proposed to Grace, and she said yes. Mamuna's life, on the other hand, had fallen apart. She was pregnant and alone, with no money, no job, and no future. She called Peter again, begging for help, but he refused. "You don't get to come back," he told her. "You abandoned me for money. Now live with your choice." Peter had built himself up, not by using others, but by hard work and loyalty. Mamuna, however, had abandoned the one person who truly loved her, and now she was paying the price.